Marty's Garden is all about compost worms, composting, farming worms indoors and out, and growing some of the most awesome food around. You can learn how by clicking the subscribe button and hitting the bell so you don't miss any of my videos.
Welcome world to the Marty's Garden Show.
G'day my friends, Marty here from martysgarden.com.au with a Hungry Bin harvest after 10 months. I've been using the Hungry Bin 10 months now. Who would have thought, if you've been following the show? Excuse my croaky voice, I've been getting over a bit of a cold. What I want to do is show you what's in here and my thoughts about this harvest, because this is about my fourth one now. I'm going to grab the wheelbarrow. We're going to put it in there. We're going to have a scrape around and have a look at it. Alright, so I let these castings sit a little bit too long in the Hungry Bin. And I poured water in there beforehand, but Hungry Bins always trap a lot of moisture, and that can be a good and a bad thing because it can get really heavy if there's a lot of moisture in there, but worms need a lot of moisture. Now, there is a bit of a slightly funky anaerobic smell, probably because the water doesn't drain away as much as it should through this little hole through here, and it sits in the system. But what we have is nearly a complete worm casting, which is much better than the last harvest that we had on at around about 7 or 8 months. You can see we've got a shiny finish there, and it's shaping into that clay putty ball which we want. Now as we dig through here, there's not a lot of worms. I'm using my fingers. I keep forgetting to use this because I'm a bit of a deep down, dig in there worm herder type of guy, and I want to see how many worms are in here. There's not as many as there were last time. But one reason I think is because I've overpopulated this worm farm and I'm not seeing cocoons in there as much. Even in here there were cocoons ages ago. So I believe that I've got to take some worms out of my Hungry Bin and move them around so they start breeding and things. Because I've got a few different types of worms in there, and I also want to dig in there and see if I can find the night crawlers, the Euro and the African, and see how they're going, because I haven't seen them very often, and I've got a funny feeling some of them might have escaped into the garden. So here we go. Look, that's pretty good. I would say that's probably 90% done. Now at the top of the tray here, I noticed that it wasn't as completed at the bottom of the tray. It was a much finer casting. Different colour to what I harvested yesterday. But this is from the material from the coffee and the sawdust. So overall, that will be a very good quality casting for growing plants. And if it's not fully broken down, you don't have to worry about it too much. If it's like, what I mean by fully broken down is like it's not a full worm casting yet. You can still use that material because it's a compost and it can be used in your pots and in the gardens. And if you're putting it in the containers, use about 20 to 30%, mix through the medium and then put a thick layer on top like a mulch, and that way when you're watering it every time, it'll pour that nutrient down into the pots, because pots will lose their nutrient and will get washed away through the bottom of the holes. And these guys, being something that stores nutrient and is slow release, with the castings in there, with the compost and all the biology, the plants will really love it, and it protects the plants and keeps them much healthier, keeps away things and organisms that are going to attack the roots. And it's a bit like a vitamin pill for the plants, keeping them healthy, and that keeps the pests away. So I'm a huge advocate for compost and worm castings. And if it's done correctly and you've got the right biology in there, it's really going to help the plants. So what I'm going to do is, and I'm going to do another review a bit later on. We're going to let the worm farm get a bit older, and then I'm going to do a full-on top-to-bottom review on the Hungry Bin of what I think is the reason why I'm going to keep it in my farm here at Marty's Garden. Now, if you want to learn how to farm worms at home, check out at martysgarden.com.au. There's a free course over there. You'll learn how to farm worms and get stuck into it. And yeah, produce castings just like this and keep growing amazing plants. And I'll see you at the next video real soon. Bye for now.